First of all, let's give the floor to Mr. Zhu Tao to brief us about the headquarters work arrangement and the progress made. Ever since the outbreak of this crash, the State Council launched the Civil Jetliner Accident Contingency Plan, and the Civil Aviation Administration took the lead in setting up a national emergency response headquarters to handle this crash. Different local governments and entities put themselves into this work. There are a lot of on-site rescuers and some commanders who commit themselves to the people-oriented search and rescue work. In 7 days, 2 black boxes have been found, and in 8 days, the identity of all those victims have been confirmed, and now the headquarters' main search and rescue task has been accomplished. By March the 30th, the emergency response work has galvanized about 50,000 people, and it dispatched 216 vehicles, 16 drones, 30 heavy machines, and 9 geological monitors. And we also dispatched a lot of protective clothes and equipment at the number of 1,000 sets and 20,000 firefighting facilities. We have collected 49,000 metal pieces from this jetliner, and we are handling the clearance work right now. While handling the search and rescue, the headquarters has put high premium on the post-emergency treatment. We have a 1-to-1 consoling services to the family members of the victims. By March the 30th, we have settled 695 family members of the victims. We helped 7,926 people to go through the psychological help. And at the meantime, the headquarters coordinated the pandemic control. We have the checkup of the 3 colds and nucleic acid test check so that the emergency response work will not cause any problems to the pandemic. Now let's give the floor to Director Zhang Zhiwen to brief us about the updates. Ever since the accident, Guangxi has implemented the instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping and Premier Li Keqiang. According to Premier Liu He, the MU5735 jetliner crash has seen the guidance of a national emergency response headquarters, and that headquarters is people-oriented in handling the emergency. And we have done the following. First, we have gathered different forces very quickly. In the afternoon of the 21st, upon receiving the notification of this accident, we have set up a panel led by the autonomous regions authorities to handle the post-accident emergency response work. We pay visit to the site for search and rescue immediately. Public security and firefighters and 2,000 other workers were on site, including some psychologists. Secondly, we go all out in the search and rescue. The rescuers conquered a lot of difficulties, for example, the steep slopes on the site, causing difficulties for the heavy machines to enter into the core areas, and also they faced the risk of a landslide during the raining days. And they have put all energy into searching for the remains and the wreckages of the plane. They have a massive search, and by about 4 p.m. of the 30th, they have dispatched 34,000 professionals, and the core areas have been searched at the number of 400,000 square meters, and they have searched 49,117 pieces from this jetliner. And the 132 passengers have been identified through DNA matching. And thirdly, properly handle the settlement post the accident. A lot of local people have been settled in Wuzhou. With one household, we have one special team to console them so that the transportation, the catering, accommodation of the family members of the victims will be properly handled. By 4 p.m. 30th, 102 family members have been received, and we paid visit to the doorsteps for about 4,000 times, and we helped 2,917 family members have went through the psychological help. We listened to the needs of the family members, and 1,300 people have paid visit to the site for condolences. Fourth, since this accident covers different provinces and there are a lot of family members coming to Wuzhou, so we have received 1,000 visitors. In a short time, we have a high density of people flow, so we must pay attention to the pandemic prevention and control, which is one of our top priorities. For the accommodation facilities and the on-site search and rescue, we have a closed-loop management. And we have sent out the notification about the pandemic prevention and control and manage the nucleic acid test every day. By the 30th, we have a cumulative test of 56,000 times. All of the results are proved negative. And as to the accommodation facilities and the conference venues, we have disinfected about 1 million square meters. Meanwhile, in the society of Wuzhou, we have a massive prevention and control measure in place. For example, for the key areas like the airports and train stations, we have a regular prevention and control mechanism. Fifth, about logistics. By the 30th, we have booked 24 hotels with about 6,000 rooms being booked. Every day, we can accommodate about 6,000 people. And we also coordinate with the power grids, and we have dispatched 17 power generating vehicles. And we opened 21 temporary power stations. We hope to ensure the rescue demand. And we also dispatched 36 batches of emergency response supplies, including 4,000 emergency response packages and 70,000 facial masks of N95, and we have dispatched 44,000 gloves for medical purposes and 25,000 protective clothes. In the next step, Guangxi will further follow the arrangement of the CPC Central Committee to scientifically coordinate our resources and different forces to dig into the reasons of this accident and properly settle this accident afterwards. And we will resume the production and life of the local people gradually. Now let's invite Mr. Lu to brief us. Dear media friends, the MU5735 jetliner crash accident has happened with us, and Yunnan Provincial People's Government has given its instructions immediately. We have set up the emergency response team, and according to the national arrangement, this team is responsible for sourcing the reasons and consoling the family members of the victims. And in the first moment, we dispatched the working group to go to the site. We also ask relevant authorities to verify the identification of the lost people and contact their family members. we have cared for and consoled the family members in a considerate way. And we also set up a receiving station of those family members. And we sent out our workers to help the China Eastern Airlines to receive the family members. Our working group go to Guangzhou to coordinate with the headquarters to ensure the condolences of the family members in Guangzhou. We try to ensure the personal safety and the pandemic control when the visitors come to Guangzhou. We also set up the working panels in the hometown of the victims. For example, for one household, we have a special team to help the family out. And when the family members came to Kunming and Guangzhou and return back home, this whole process will receive our services to avoid any secondary disaster. In the future, we will continue to verify the information and take solid measures to protect the legitimate rights of the family members and properly cope with the aftermath. Now let's open the floor to questions. And please identify yourself before raising the questions. Good morning, from the CMG. My question is, what are the steps taken about the sourcing of this accident? Mr. Zhu Tao. After 10 days of efforts, our investigation has come to some preliminary results. First of all, we have completed the search of the wreckages. In addition to 2 black boxes, we also found the engines and some wreckages of the right wing. And we have collected 40,000 pieces. We are doing the clearing and disinfection work of the pieces and try to number them, paving the way for the future analysis. Meanwhile, we already have some initial analysis. For example, the on-site environment, the traces of the crash. We took a lot of photos to identify the possible trajectory of this airplane at the moment of the crash. And we also analyzed the data from the in-air radar. We try to restore the flying mode of this jetliner on that day. As to the cargo and the passengers, we have checked all the information, and the data of the 2 black boxes are being decoded. So with this search and rescue work coming to an end, in the future our work will pivot towards the accident analysis and investigation and proof collection. According to the civil aviation certain rules and regulations, within the 30 days upon the outbreak of this accident, we will generate a draft version of the report, and then we will publish it to the public. We abide by the rules of scientific investigation and hold ourselves responsible to history. We will do every bit to give the reasons of this accident and avoid any repeated mistake. Dear media friends, the MU5735 accident has an emergency response headquarters, and we held the first presser on the first day of this accident, and up until today there are 10 pressers being staged. Dear media friends, together with the information office of the headquarters, have been working shoulder by shoulder for 800 hours in a row. In these 10 days, we have received massive support from the media groups, the netizens, and different circles of lives. We would love to thank you for your support and caring on behalf of the headquarters. And as to your spirit of dedication and professionalism, My gratitude goes to all of you. And with the on-site search and rescue work almost coming to an end, the focal points of our work will turn to the aftermath handling and the analysis of the causes. To that end, we hold the on-site press conference in Guangxi for the last time today. As to our future work, we will publish some newsletters and receive interviews from the media friends and invite some experts to give us some interpretation and then publish all that information to the public. And this is the end of today's presser. Thank you for your attention.